follow. Now, my dear friends, I would like to add another philosophical outlook to this. Though we have been going through these particular quotes since ages, but after realizing this particular concept, we will be able to comprehend them and inculcate them in our daily life with great simplicity. So let's go through these quotes. Love is actually being in balance, that is, in harmony with the self, God, and our fellow men. It is a very deep statement, that is being in balance and harmony with the self, that is the stepwise procedure as we have just discussed. That is, once we are able to do effective self-realization, treating ourselves as the detached observer and full of unconditional love, we will be able to mother ourselves by realizing the importance of this particular concept. Then we will be able to connect to that Almighty Father and implement that Karma Yoga. And then once we are able to live with this particular ideology in our lives, we will be able to radiate this in our surroundings, and this will radiate automatically. And all those virtues which we are able to implement for ourselves, we will be able to implement all of them very naturally for our fellow beings, and automatically they will be able to accept and realize those vibrations of comfortable ambience from us automatically. Tell me one thing, when we go to our mother, don't we feel unconditional love and acceptance and easiness? That is but natural. Then love is selflessness. It's not an emotional state confined to whims and fancies, but a transcendent state of consciousness which actually goes beyond the bodily forms. Tell me one thing, is one actually bothering how his or her mother actually looks? Does anyone go on the composition of the body, the texture, the complexion? No, never. That love is eternal. That is an unconditional bonding. Yes. So similarly, when we apply that concept of motherly nature, that motherly love for ourselves, we will accept ourselves unconditionally, whatsoever the case may be. It is but natural, and automatically we will be able to accept and radiate that motherly love to our fellow men. And that's why we often say, and that's the truth, that all of us are brothers and sisters of each other in this global family, because we are the children of that Almighty Father. Right? So, my dear friends, love has nothing to do with the bodies. Love just automatically dwells in the soul. That's why in the beginning I mentioned we need to start living with the ideology of self-consciousness, that is soul consciousness and not body consciousness. When we start thinking in terms of body consciousness, we start living in fear, and all those 5 vices of lust, anger, greed, fear, and the list goes on. Those vices start enter, and automatically these are very, very uncomfortable, right? When we say a particular say a particular vice from our mouth, say like lust or anger or greed, it automatically creates uncomfortable feeling within us. But when I start living for true soul consciousness, then the virtues of purity, peace, love, unconditional love, acceptance, wisdom, power start coming in me naturally. And notice one thing here, my dear friends, when I'm saying the words purity, you also try this simultaneously. When I say the words purity, peace, love, unconditional love, happiness, unlimited happiness, contentment, aren't you able to feel those vibrations as you are saying these words? It is but natural, my dear friends, because this automatically proves that this is our true eternal nature. This is our true eternal nature. So, as I said, the only truth is that the truth is, so once we start living from the perspective of truth, our life will become purposeful. And that's the only motive of that Almighty Father for which our ancestors have created these godly scriptures. Right? So automatically this will lead to follow the path of righteousness with a very visionary and long-term mindset. It will be but natural. So God has made us the fragrant flowers. But am I radiating and spreading the sweetness to all? Just introspect and start realizing the worth of this particular concept which we have discussed today, and not let it remain only as a concept. Let's try to inculcate it in our daily lives. And obviously, a bucket gets full with every drop, and every ounce counts. So it's a stepwise procedure, and in this entire journey we need to mother ourselves having the firm belief where we have to reach. Though we might be here, many of us might be here because today's times are quite awful, because of which the souls are quite depleted and are in the taking mode. So in order to become the natural giver, that is acting to the conscious soul and motherly nature, we need to have the firm belief where we need to reach and start motivating yourself to reach there. And this is a continuous journey. This is a continuous journey which needs to be enjoyed. And we'll start receiving the power from that Almighty Father, and He will be our constant companion. Yes, He is just wanting us to start living through this particular motive. Then only in our lives, our teachers or our motivators, our friends, our mentors, our parents, our siblings, whenever they teach us a particular thing, when do they receive happiness? When we start incorporating that thing, that particular teaching in our lives. Then only they feel proud and they feel worthy of their existence. Right? So the Holy Scripture, so the similar concept needs to be followed here. Right? And you and many of us must be thinking that how is it possible to accept everyone if we are noticing a lot of cruelties or inhumane behavior happening all around us? For example, the terrorists, like I have used the word for the global family. So how can I accept anyone who is spreading violence? Yes, this question is very natural, my dear friends. For that, I need to realize no matter how bad a person may be, but he must possess at least one virtue. Be like the hummingbird and pick the sweetness of virtues. Right? And for that particular purpose, the cells have been created to punish the one for his sin. So hate the sin, but do not hate the sinner. It is a very deep concept. we need to develop that particular compassion, and that will come naturally once we start living with this particular concept of soul consciousness. This will be very natural. All laws which we are following, they are very appropriate, and they are very desirable to punish the one for the karmas, for the bad karmas he or she has committed, but with the motive to bring that particular person on the right path. So we just need to add another very important perspective, that is the real foundation of every karma in our daily routine. So this is the only thing which we need to go. And I would like to conclude my session by 2 quotes. That is, the only way to gain respect is firstly to give it. And anything which we are following should be natural. It should not be forceful. We should not be forceful upon us. So once we realize the concept of soul consciousness, the respect will automatically radiate to the self, and our fragrance of acceptance and all those divine virtues will flow to the entire humanity. So this quote, that is, the only way to gain respect is firstly to give it, I will automatically radiate blessings to everyone, and everyone will feel comfortable and respectable. This is very natural. Just remember the concept of a mother and a child. This relation is so beautiful, and I would like to apologize. Yes, I would like to apologize because I haven't used the word father. My dear friends, when I'm using the word mother, that automatically means that I'm talking about both mother and father. Mother is a metaphor which symbolizes unconditional love and acceptance, and without a father there is no existence of a mother. Am I right? Yes, technically I'm right, and this is the real truth, and conceptually also it is right. So this is the real essence, my dear guys. This is the real essence. And finally, to have respect for the self and love for the God makes it easy to make my life purposeful, and hence it will become very natural and simple to appreciate every human being, every creature, right? And obviously some of you might be still having the apprehension or questions in your mind that today's times are quite chaotic. Why is it so? And how can we implement this particular concept, even though this is the truth? How can we implement this very naturally and accept one for the sins, for the very great sins he or she is committing? My dear friends, once we realize the ideology, this particular philosophy of a soul, supreme soul, and the entire concept of blue family becomes very natural, then the other truth is that today's times are actually the times of disequilibrium in the society. And as I said, that all of us who are reading the scriptures for remembering God, we need to be aware of the objective, and the objective is to create the Satya, the paradise. Yes. So once we are aware of that particular thing, that we need to bring paradise, we need to bring Satyuk, so that automatically means that today's times are the times of disequilibrium. This is actually the world cycle, and today's times are quite chaotic, and that will require transformation. Because as we can see in today's times, though on one side the process of destruction is happening because of the degradation in the mindsets of various people because of ignorance, however, on the other side, we are seeing the blooming flowers, the flourishing knowledge of spirituality, of self-awareness, of positivity. Both things are actually happening simultaneously. So once we realize the importance of this particular thing,